Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new box office breakdown show here on Mac Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. Today, we're breaking down the box office of the final weekend in the month of June. We're talking about June 30th to July 2nd. Sorry, excuse me. We'll break down the domestic week, also worldwide numbers for this year. My name is Max Dinnenberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. If you're new to the channel, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings now consistently, and back to every single Monday, a new box office breakdown show. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on the overall box office situation? A lot of bombs in the month of June that happened. What do you think the movie theater business needs to change moving forward? What are you going to see this upcoming week? I was also in theaters. Also, please like the video, the thumbs up button. That's really how you support this channel. Helps grow the channel more than you guys think. So please hit that like button, the thumbs up down below. Let's get into this weekend's box office without further ado. And obviously, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny did come in first place, obviously from Walt Disney. Disney now owning this film. Paramount's still associated with it, but it's not the main distributing. It is technically a Disney Lucasfilm led film. And it opened to $60.3 million. And I think a lot of people are just saying, well, this is such a bomb for Indiana Jones. This movie had no chance of being a success in the movie theater exhibition. This is one of the worst business decisions of the whole year, not making the movie. But the report is that the production budget, this is not including advertising and print, which usually goes for well over $100 million, that Dial of Destiny cost $300 million to make on a production budget level. That is outrageous. Now, if you include advertising, this film would have to make near $1 billion just to break even. And this franchise has never shown the capability to do so. This is an awful, awful weekend for Disney and a rough month for Disney. Again, a lot of movies had really most of the movies that hit theaters this month. Paramount had a big loss with Transformers Rise of the Beast. Not a mega loss, but not a huge success. And then DC and Warner Brothers flopping with The Flash, which dropped out of the top 5 this week and almost even out of the top 10 this past weekend. Disney is just the big loser of the month because Elemental, well, we'll talk about Elemental in a second, is a bomb for Pixar, one of the worst performing Pixar films of all time. And now this movie had no chance. No matter how good the movie was, I really think this was an impossible task for this franchise to get near $1 billion, especially in a crowded marketplace where there have been blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster every single weekend. Now, if you look at the opening weekends for this franchise, this movie did have the second best opening weekend, but again, the original trilogy did not open big, but also what was the genius of that original trilogy is they still made a lot of money on very cheap budgets, which you just don't see anymore. Raiders of the Lost Ark cost $20 million to make, which seems so not realistic. I think it shows you the genius of that movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark only cost $20 million. Worldwide, it made $367 million. Mega hit, especially with the production budget. Temple of Doom, $28 million budget. It made $333 worldwide. So even though it was a bit more budget, it was still and a bit less worldwide. That's still a massive hit for the studio. Last Crusade did up its budget, the most expensive film of the trilogy, $48 million, but it was by far the most successful film of the trilogy, $474. Again, $474 million. Also, that's before inflation with to now. So, but the biggest winner of the Indiana Jones franchise is sadly the worst film, which is The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which did have a production budget of $185 million, but it did make $786 worldwide, including opening to $100 million. Now, people are saying, well, I think Kingdom of Crystal Skull maybe have tampered people from going back to see another Indiana Jones film, but also that movie came out 15 years ago. And I think even if movies come off as that bad, that long of time usually is enough time for an interest in the franchise. I think there were a couple problems with the movie that I wanted to bring up. The first one is, first of all, debuting this movie at Cannes 2 months before it officially came out. a big mistake. Now, obviously, the filmmakers, Kathleen Kennedy, who really runs the show for Lucasfilm, they obviously thought this was a fantastic film and wanted to show this movie at Cannes to get the early buzz going. But you've seen Elemental debuted at Cannes as well. The Flash debuted, showing things at CinemaCon 2 months before it came out, and then close to a month before it came out, 3 fan screenings were out. People don't want to feel like when the movie comes out, it feels like not just has everyone seen it already who has seen it, but the word of mouth also isn't super strong. Now, while for The Flash, it was quite strong, it just became a bit too much. Now, for Indiana Jones and Elemental, the buzz was not good, and it hasn't been. And Indiana Jones, while it hasn't been awful, no one thinks this is an awful movie. The buzz has not been good enough for 2 months now to get people to go see this in a movie theater. And it's a big risk that these big movies take by debuting at major film festivals. It's a big swing. It could either go one or two ways. It can be a home run where everyone loves the movie, but also it could be a total mess up where the people don't really seem to overwhelmingly like the movie. But again, look at The Flash. That movie was widely acclaimed as one of the best movies of the year, one of the comic book movies of all time 2 months ago, and now it's one of the biggest flops. It will be the biggest flop of the entire year. The fact that it's number 8 in its third weekend is an abomination. So we'll see if Indiana Jones has legs. It will keep its premium theaters for an extra week before Mission Impossible takes it in 2 weeks. But it's a weird thing. Lucasfilm put a lot on the line here. $300 million just on the production alone is irresponsible. And this really could cost Kathleen Kennedy her job running the studio. And number 2 is Elemental in its third weekend, dropping another 34%, but still really good hold. $12.1 million is up to, right now, $89 million domestically. Now, again, its holds have been excellent, but this movie is still going to be a massive bomb for Disney and Pixar. Again, the movie's production budget was near $200 million, plus advertising around $350 million. So it needs around $700 million just to break even, which this movie will not. So, and this movie is already well underperforming Lightyear, which came out last year, and people think Lightyear is the biggest flop of Pixar. So what does that say? Elemental is a bomb, no matter what these drops will tell you and how positive these drops are. This is a disaster for Pixar anyway. The only movie that I think got out of this month feeling good about themselves is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, only dropping another 37% its 5th weekend. $12 million just lost out to the number 2 spot for Elemental's 12.1 by $100,000. But now Spider-Verse is up to $340.3 million. It's already passed the entire run of Into the Spider-Verse's worldwide run. Just domestically, Across the Spider-Verse has already topped that. Now, while Across the Spider-Verse is, I think the disappointing part about this movie is the international numbers. Domestically, it is a massive hit in the United States and Canada, which is what the domestic box office is. But I think Sony will look to gauge a more worldwide audience, as internationally, this was not a massive hit as it was here in the United States. And number 4 is the comedy from Sony as well, No Hard Feelings, dropping 48% its second weekend, $7.8 million, around $29.6 million right now domestically. This is a solid number for No Hard Feelings, especially for a comedy. Not to be in the 50% range for a drop is pretty good. This movie will be, I think, a massive hit once it hits PVOD and when it later hits Netflix later this year, or later whenever it hits Netflix. Sony has had success with that method. I think No Hard Feelings will play a much more appealing on PVOD. And wrapping up the top 5, still in the top 5 in its 4th weekend, is Transformers Rise of the Beast. In its 4th weekend, 7.3 million, 37% drops up to 136.4 domestically. When we look at the overall numbers domestically this year, again, Super Mario, still the biggest movie of the year here domestically, 573.5, probably won't get topped for the remainder of the year. Guardians Volume 3 is at 355. Right on its heels is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, number 3 of 340. Across the Spider-Verse now just needs $15 million domestically to pass Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And this is a massive win for Sony, as their Spider-Man movie will eventually make more money here domestically than both new MCU movies. A big win for Amy Pascal and showing you how important the Spider-Man IP really is. Little Mermaid, another film that is doing, you would think, relatively well, near $500 million. It's made 281 domestically. It's a number 4. That's another disaster for Disney. That movie needed to make well above $1 billion to break even. Big disappointment there. Quantumania is a number 5, 214. The rest of the top 10 is John Wick Chapter 4, Creed 3, Fast X, Transformers Rise of the Beast, and Scream 6. Still, 10 movies are at $100 million this year. The Flash, though, is $1 million of that. But the fact that The Flash hasn't officially hit $100 million in 3 weekends, that is a rather bomb for DC and Warner Brothers. We look at the overall worldwide numbers of the year. Super Mario, again, still the biggest movie of the year, $1.34 billion. Again, Universal holding their holds high, being the winners of the year. Sorry to miss my words there. Guardians Volume 3 up to 824. So while it will get passed by Across the Spider-Verse, domestically, Across the Spider-Verse will not even touch Guardians' worldwide number. Fast X, another bomb, because that movie needed to make a lot more money than it did, but 709 is number 3 worldwide. Across the Spider-Verse is number 5, up to $600 million, again, nearly doubling the original film, but I think a lot of people thought this could do a lot more better internationally. Little Mermaid, the number 7, 523 worldwide. Again, these Disney live-action movies like Aladdin, Lion King, Cinderella, these are near billion-dollar movies, if not Aladdin, billion-dollar movies. Not good there. Quantumania, number 8, 463 worldwide. John Wick, Chapter 4 is at 432 worldwide. Wrapping up the top 10 is Transformers Rise of the Beast at $379 million worldwide. 2 new movies are hitting theaters this upcoming weekend. We have Insidious, The Red Door, making its return to the franchise. Again, rooting for my friend Ty Simpkins for to have a successful box office weekend. Also, Joyride, the new comedy, is also coming out this upcoming weekend. Those movies are both exclusively in theaters. Again, another breather of no big blockbusters hitting the marketplace. So we'll see what the box office is like next week. More videos here are coming to the channel. Secret Invasion review will be on Wednesday. Already today, I posted my Indiana Jones film ranking video here. I'm either going to see Joyride or Insidious. I'll have that review up later this week and back here on Monday with another box office breakdown show.